everyone. It is Sunday night and we are coming to you live from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida to help you wind down your weekend. As always, I'm your host, Shannon Live, aka Small Press Shann, here to get you really excited about way too many books. This week, we have 2 weeks worth of books that we're going to be talking about, all indie and small press, all new releases, all fantastic reads that you're going to want to add to your pull list. But before we can get started on our books, we obviously need to know how we're winding down our weekend. And so this week we are drinking Tarima, which is a Monastrell, and it's actually 100% Monastrell, which is really nice because a lot of the ones I've seen recently have been like blends. But this is a Spanish Monastrell, and it is apparently the flower is it's all about, like they say, it's like this passion flower was chosen for Tarima because the blossom never ceases to amaze and entice people around the world. And so that's the reason why they use this as their symbol, which is really cool because it's a really pretty cover. Honestly, I picked it because the artwork on the bottle was so nice that I was like, ooh, I want to look at this pretty art tonight. But we're going to give it a try. Spanish Monastrell, actually imported by a company in Niles, Illinois. Yeah, so, and I'm going to take a drink of it out of these amazing glasses before I pick it up. I want Matt to be able to zoom in if he hasn't.
I need a 2-shot.
Ooh.
We messed that up.
Ooh,
there we go.
There we go. We are drinking tonight out of new glasses that were given to us by our friends at Hello Comics for the birthday experience of life. Because if you don't know, Matt's birthday and my birthday are a week apart. We just celebrated Matt's birthday, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then mine is tomorrow. And so this is amazing glasses. Thank you to our friends at Hello Comics. If you are looking to buy comics online, you should shop Hello Comics because they have a great website for all the new and old stuff that they carry. But we're going to give this wine a try, and we're going to see how it is. It smells good. Man, that's a nice thick glass. I just have to say that first and foremost. It's perfect for drinking wine from.
Absolutely.
Not surprising, Kate at Hello Comics knows so much about wine, so I'm not surprised she would get great glasses.
Good.
This is really good. I don't even know what I'm drinking, but it tastes like what the flavors are, but I love it. Matt, you'll love this, that they literally reference their chalky soil. So I hope that you get some beautiful chalky flavor in there somehow. But what are you getting out of it, other than deliciousness?
Like grape and plum jams. Really jammy.
I'm
There's
definitely
like an
jammy.
oak. A lot of oak. It's thick though. It tastes like jam.
Yeah, it's very jammy, and I feel like the plum is a strong flavor for it, and in the color. You can definitely see the plum in the color of it too. Yeah, it's really smooth. Oh my gosh, it's gonna open up so lovely. So many great flavors. Yeah, this is great. This is a good one to share with friends too. I always love the ones where it's like you can obviously it has such a good open palate that like lots of people will like it, and I feel like this is definitely one of those.
We drink a lot that need food to go with them, and this doesn't need food.
Yeah, this is great on its own. Like I could just sit and relax. I can't tell.
Smoke.
That might be the chalky soil. Like
Cherry, right?
A little bit. I don't know if I think it's like, if it's a cherry, it's like a black cherry because it's not as like tart as cherry usually is. Like there's not that much tartness to the taste of the wine. But we're going to be drinking that throughout the show, and again, enjoying it in our beautiful glasses from Hello Comics. Thank you guys so much for those. And what? Yeah, we're gonna talk some more about everything that's been going on at Bat City, and everything that is going on at Bat City at the end of the show. Just a quick thing: our August calendar will drop this week, but just so you know, we are having a zine night this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And then we have tarot class with Matt on Friday at 7. Is it 7? 7 p.m. This Friday the 8th. So Wednesday, 6:30, zine night. Zine librarian Kelly will be here again, as well as our own in-house zine artist and creator Katie. And then we will again tarot night on Friday night at 7 with Matt. And then Saturday at 3:30 is Slam Marketing. That is an all ages class. Adults, feel free to come. It is a free class on how to market yourself as a creator and how to market your work. So if you are a creator of any skill level, age level, and you are like, I want to know how to start marketing my work, please come out to that class. It is going to be a lot of fun and a lot of information. And again, it's completely free. So please come join us. I have an ungodly amount of books, as per usual when I say that I have to give you the like sideways holy crap glance. So we've got about 70 books that we're going to be talking about, and so I want to get through all of them because Matt is going to come up and join us at the end of the show to talk about everything that's been going on and some of the stuff that happened at San Diego Comic-Con that was really fun. So I'm going to fly through these books as much as I can while also still giving you plenty to be excited about, so you know why you want to read these books and add them to your pull list. So I'm not going to talk too much more about anything before Matt gets here, and I'm just going to kick it off with Ice Cream Man, issue 44 from Image Comics. If you've never read Ice Cream Man, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It is one of the best anthologies in comics, and the fact that it's been going for 44 issues just proves that point. And it always kind of seems to center around some kind of like great topic of modern society, but also some philosophical existential dread. And this issue is all about an employee who is getting an employee evaluation. His quarterly employee performance review is happening, and he is working for a corporation that is very much not in touch with the reality of life. And we get to see all of the ridiculous corporate speak come from this father and daughter who run this company. And what we decipher very early on is that our employee has had a complete psychotic breakdown and has attacked everybody in the office. And they are trying to use this quarterly evaluation to just have a conversation with him about that and about his psychotic breakdown that he's had. And it's so funny because he's like, should I be like, are the police coming? Is this a situation that's going to happen? And they're like, okay, so we just want to talk about your performance and how it's going. Really, really hilarious. Absolutely wonderful. If you have ever had a corporate job, you absolutely need to read this issue. You don't have to read other issues of Ice Cream Man to jump in. But seriously, if you've ever been in the corporate world, highly recommend Ice Cream Man issue 44 as just a way to laugh and laugh and laugh about everything that is absurd in corporations. Or if you just hate corporations and you want to laugh about it, read it anyway. Department of Truth issue 32, also from Image Comics. This is the story of a department in the government that is all about making sure that when people start believing in stuff that they don't become true, because in this world and reality that anytime enough people believe in a conspiracy theory, it actually gets grounded and becomes reality. This arc honestly is very similar to what James Tynion is doing with World Tree, and it's kind of like he's putting those two concepts a little bit together, because we are following a teenager who has recently had a friend go missing, and that friend has been involved in a lot of chat rooms and message boards, and they say that they've seen somebody who is what they call the Black Hat, and he has been showing up, the Hat Man has been showing up in their vision and everywhere they go, and then they go missing. And so now Frankie has been looking into what is going on, and is the only person that seems to really care that their friend is missing, and they're working really hard to honestly embody this conspiracy theory of the Hat Man so that hopefully it will become real, so that maybe they have a chance to find their friend. And we're kind of just seeing a little bit more of the realistic approach to the whole idea of building a conspiracy theory into reality through this arc of the series. Kaya, issue 28 from Image Comics. I love to see an all-ages book go this long, and it is fantastic that Kaya is doing just that. If you haven't jumped in, Kaya is the story of a young girl whose younger brother is named the Chosen One, and their entire village is destroyed, and so Kaya has been working to get her brother to where their gods and elders can train them, train him to become the chosen one and to save the people of all of the world. And of course, battles and things have ensued along the way. And now Kaya and her brother are being assisted by a trickster god. And Kaya, of course, doesn't trust them because it's in the name. They're a trickster god. And yet Jin, her brother, really, really wants to believe that this god has his best interest at heart because it's the first time that somebody has like truly shown him his power. And in this issue, while they are trying to break an enslaved group of people out of jail with the help of the trickster, Kaya realizes that the only way that she's going to keep going on this mission is if they separate from the trickster god. And so they have this big kind of knockout, drag out argument where Kaya is really kind of trying to prove that the trickster does not have their best interests at heart. And future Kaya has given some insight into that, and that is what is causing her to really not believe in his integrity. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures, issue 27 from IDW. For speaking of kids series continuing to go on into high numbers, this is fantastic as well. This is your Ninja Turtles cartoon from the 90s in comic book form for a new generation. And in the most recent issue, we saw that the Turtles found themselves prey to friends being manipulated by the pantheon of evil to attack them. And also we saw the return of the Shredder. And so the Turtles Donatello is like, we need to come up with better lines of defense. And so Donatello has built an armor, which all of the other Turtles make fun of, saying, why do we need armor if we're ninjas and we're good at fighting? But now the pantheon is trying to figure out who should be the leader, and Krang has the idea that everybody should get a chance to battle for it. And so Drago, who is this dragon guy, is determined to take the Ninja Turtles down as the first one to go against them. And in his time battling them, of course, they learn that they are going to have to find a bigger way to fight against fire, because they don't have fire. And so Michelangelo suits up in the armor and figures out a way to battle for his brothers. And I love that Mikey's getting to be like the guy that, you know, takes on some big stuff in this series. What's the Furthest Place from Here, issue 22 from Image Comics. This is a crazy series about a world that's post-apocalyptic, very much kind of reminiscent of things like the Warriors and things like that. And these kids have all kind of just devised themselves into factions. Each faction has their own gods that they follow. Over the last 22 issues, we have seen what that world is actually made of, and why, like, that there are adults in there that are causing some of these major problems, and that there's more to what they've been told than what these teenagers have always believed. But they have found themselves on the run and on this big mission, and in the most recent issues of this arc, they have found themselves way beyond anywhere they've ever gone, and kind of in a place that's like the bizarro world of what their previous home was. And so they're trying to fight out their way from this, and they're actually just trying to find a way to make a new home, and nobody seems to want to allow them to do that. And so in this issue, they are having to fight against some people who are attempting to cannibalize and sacrifice them, and they build their own gods in order to do that. And we see exactly where that big adventure can lead. Void Rivals, issue 21 from Image, Skybound, and your Energon universe. This is part of that Transformer G.I. Joe world, except it's in a different world. And it follows two warring planets who have more in common than they ever thought that they did. But there's been some reason that they've their rulers have kept them separated and at war for so long. And two of the members of the different worlds have recently figured out what that difference is, and have found out that the gods and the people in charge of them don't want them at war. But we have a robot man, who is not a Transformer, but a guy who is kind of like in a mech suit named Proxima, who is coming, Proximus, I guess, since he's a dude. Anyway, he is coming to start a war, and he is determined to bring those two warring planets back into actual battle against each other, to keep them from ever realizing that their strongest power lies if they come together. I'm really excited about this series because the Transformers that they have brought in includes Hot Rod, who's one of my favorite Transformers. So I'm really glad that we finally get to see him in this Energon universe, and that he is just as ridiculously conceited and not helpful as always, and yet has that heart that's going to end up helping everybody, I'm sure, by the end. Sam and Twitch, issue 16 from Image and your Spawn universe. If you are somebody who thinks that Spawn World sounds cool, but you've never read Spawn and you just want to get something, they are doing so many good miniseries right now that are in the Spawn world, but don't actually require you to have extreme knowledge of Spawn. And Sam and Twitch is actually probably the most, furthest down the street of adjacency to Spawn, because they really don't mention him at all. This is the first issue that actually even references it, and the most references that, hey, you might want to leave this out of your Cape Friends knowledge. But Sam and Twitch are two detectives who have been working together for a long time. Sam is your burly guy who doesn't follow any of the rules, and Twitch is the guy who is overly meticulous. But in the last arc of the story, Twitch ended up getting put on probation and possibly fired, and now is under investigation for a murder that happened while he was on duty. And Sam is the only one that can save him. So Sam is having to do the actual legwork and detective work, while Twitch is stuck at home trying to just figure out if he's having his own little breakdown. In this issue, Sam gets really close to figuring out some stuff and gets some warrants and things that he has needed for a while to go into some of the investigation. But unfortunately, Twitch finds out that his wife has gotten involved in some of the biggest, most dangerous things possible, and we're going to see if either Sam or Twitch can figure out a way to save her before it's too late. Geiger issue 16 from Image and the Ghost Machine imprint. Okay, seriously, this is the best issue of Geiger. I feel like I've been saying that a lot recently, but this is like the best issue of Geiger, other than the one that just follows Barney the dog. This is such a fascinating story. If you don't know Geiger, it is about a man who, after a nuclear holocaust, is now filled with radiation and has been trying to find a way to get out of that for a really long time. Recently, he's come across another glowing person who is a woman, and she doesn't have as pure as intent as he does, when his intentions are not really considered to be that pure all the time. But we have found out that there is a Dr. Molotov who has worked with both of them to try to teach them how to rein in this nuclear power that's within them. And after the events that have taken place recently, he is now with Tariq, and Tariq is trying to get him to fix Junkyard Joe, who you may know from his own story, but also his involvement in the Geiger and Unnamed Universe world, who was recently injured and is not working right now. And as he is not able to do it, it is making Tariq more and more mad. But we actually get to see some really great parallelisms between what Geiger, Tariq is dealing with, and what Ashley, the glowing woman, has done with, and like what led them down their different paths. But we also kind of get a little bit more for the first time about like what may have actually caused Tariq to lose his family, and what is causing him to act the way he does. We get a lot of heart between all the different characters in this. We get to see a lot of really cool action. You get to see a lot of really good story development on the individual stories and all of the story as a whole in such a great issue. If you're not reading Geiger yet, you should pick it up. This Ghost Machine version of Geiger has just been fantastic. Jeff Johns firing on all cylinders for that series for sure. And speaking of kicking butt in this issue 15 of Feral is out, also from Image. This is so great. Okay, so this is The Walking Dead, but with cats. And you are probably sitting there thinking, don't think I need that, but I promise you that you do. And it is only getting better and better as it goes along. And so we've kind of seen a lot of the different places that we see and scenarios we see in The Walking Dead so far. And right now we're kind of in more of like a terminus situation. And so our group has made it into what is called Pet City, which is a pet store. And they seem to have a lot of rules and a lot of restrictions on what the cats can do. And that led one of our little younger kittens, Lord, who's constantly getting us in trouble because he is young and spunky and doesn't know what he's doing, to get in some trouble. And so Lord has been not allowed to eat for the last few days that they've been in this place. And now that his time is almost up, he is like, hey, can I eat? Oh my gosh, I need food. Please give me something. And their insubordination is a big grounds for not being able to eat. And our main cats have tried to stand up for him, and it is leading them to even bigger dangers. And in this issue, Lord also figures out what it is that the cats are doing there that's helping them to survive when all of the food is starting to run low, and why these cats never seem to be hungry. Meanwhile, we also see the two female cats and their tomcat getting in a spicy mix of love drama. The kittens are in danger. Everybody's in danger. It's tense. It's crazy. You're on your edge of your seat while you're reading it, which is just speaks volumes to what Tony and team on Stray Dogs are doing, or on Feral are doing on this series. Minor Arcana issue 9 from Boom Studios. Speaking of tarot classes, this is such a cool story that Jeff Lemire is really starting to dive into. It is all about a woman who finds out that her mom has cancer, and she's like, I need you to come home and be here and take care of me. And so she has to return to that place that she never really wanted to go back to, because there's been so much, heartache and upsetness in that town for her. But when she goes back, her mom is like, I need you to take over running my psychic business, where I do tarot readings and palm readings and things like that. And it's always been fake, and her mom's told her it was fake forever, and that there's no such thing as this kind of magic. But as Teresa, our main character, starts reading tarot for people, it turns out that she can actually go to this other side, this magical experience, and she can actually talk to and figure out all of the situations that people want. And word has gotten out now, and in this issue, she has a line around the block of people wanting her to help them with their problems and figure it out. And this is the first time in this issue that Teresa actually confronts her mom about the fact that maybe her mom was lying, and maybe there really was magic all this time, and maybe they really were psychic. And the confrontation does not go the way that Teresa thinks it will, partially because she's got that chip on her shoulder where she doesn't know how to talk to her parents, but also because she just really expected her mom to give her more than she actually gets. But there is something lying deep within her mom's emotions that say maybe there's something darker looming for the family as it goes. Speaking of dark things looming, issue 9 of Terminator from Dynamite Comics. This actually leads us to Judgment Day, which is a thing that if you're a Terminator fan, you hear about all the time. And so this puts us in 1997 on that Judgment Day that Sarah Connor has been trying to stop forever. And it shows a group of people who have been sent back from the future, who have been training and prepping, ready for this, dealing with their chance to actually break in and take out Skynet from Cyberdyne before it's too late. But there is a Terminator on site, and he is ready to fight them before it could ever even happen. And one of the things I like about the Terminator series is you never know when they're going to stop Judgment Day in a series and when they're not going to stop Judgment Day in a series. And so it's really cool to kind of get to see which way the path is going to take them in the comic book version, because we've got, we always have those people ready for a resistance. And what I love about this issue is we do actually see them say oh, what are you going to do? What were you planning to do? Come back here and kill a baby in a carriage so that you could make sure you got them before it started? And the Terminator's like, well, that's a great idea. And it's like, see, you gotta stop saying things to these things. They're computers. They just broadcast that information forever. But it's so great if you're a Terminator fan. These are just fun issues to really get you a little bit more in your universe and get excited. Hornsby and Halo issue 8 from Image Comics and the Ghost Machine universe. Such a fun story for, if you're a fan of things like Super Sons, this is definitely one. I always make the joke that it's kind of like New Gods meet Super Sons, because we took a child who was the kid of the highest good, essentially God, an angel child, and a child that was born in hell and meant to be demon spawn, and we made them switch places and be raised by different people. And the kid who was supposed to be an angel is basically raised in the pits by these terrible humans who are thieves and liars and awful to him. And the child who was supposed to be a demon has had everything given to her by the nicest parents ever. And in the last few issues, they've kind of realized that they've come into these powers that they didn't know they were going to have. And they had a guardian who was there and was helping them, but something mysterious has happened to the guardian, which we know, but they don't know yet. I love it because this issue almost has absolutely nothing to do with any of that other than the continuation of them building their friendship and kind of getting over any of the obstacles that they have between them as they have to perform Paradise Lost for their school. And our demon is cast as an angel and our angel is cast as a demon. And they kind of get a little bit more insight into what the other person is and what they're supposed to experience while also doing the most ridiculously modern, hilarious version of Paradise Lost. It's so great. And again, it's very Super Sense-esque. It's written by Pete Tomasi, so that's not surprising. But just has a great, fun, all ages, great feel that kind of gives you a warm feeling every time you read it, but also gives you that great coming of age story all at the same time. The Rockefellers, issue 7, also from Ghost Machine. This is a family drama story of a family of inventors from the future who get stuck coming back to our time period. And basically the dad is an inventor and he's been working on something and we've never really known what it was. We just know that whatever it was, some bad people wanted it, and because of that they had to sneak through time and come back to our time to hide. And in this issue we actually get to see for the first time what it was that the dad was making and how he's connected to all of the people who are actually the ones coming after him and the ones protecting him, and how family drama can be more than just one little nucleus of a family, but your whole extended family can be a part of a problem. But we do learn that he was building some really great materials that might actually save the world. Because he is building a bioorganic material that can actually help trees grow, plants grow, all kinds of different things, possibly save the world from hunger and beyond by renewing all of our resources. And while he wants that to be used for good, members of his own very family are wanting to use it for corporate gain. And so he is having to battle against all that, and we are getting a little bit more of the information as the story unfolds for us in this 7th issue. All right, I'm gonna take a drink of this wine because this is gonna be a long show. So I'm gonna take a drink. It is so good. Oh my God, that's a completely different wine now. This is what I love about Monastrell. They completely change their texture, their taste, everything as the show goes on. I mean, you're gonna have to taste it. It's completely different. But I'm going to keep going while Matt does that. So we've got Mark Spears Monsters, issue 6 from Keenspot. This is just a really cool look at the Universal Monsters, the way that Mark Spears is doing this story, because he has brought in pretty much all of them, as well as some other unique individual ones. And we have been following along as essentially this Slayer has been looking to stop some big ultimate end, and all of the different monsters are all looking for this disc that's going to help them with something. We still don't really necessarily know what's on the disc that they're after, but we are we have to get it. Somebody has to get it before them. Well, we learned that some kids have it, actually. And so we've been following these kids for the last couple of issues as they've had a Stand By Me moment where they're playing out by the lake and then a werewolf shows up and they're oh my God, we have to run. And they've been hiding on this water tower. And in this issue, we think that a hero has come to save them, and we get to see just what it means to be involved in one of these crazy wars between monsters, while we also still have the story of the police investigating and the Slayer chasing after them. And we get to circle back a little bit to Igor, and we get to learn where the name Igor came from and what it means, and how maybe Victor Frankenstein is the worst monster of all of them in the end. And we're going to see where all that's taking us. We also get introduced to witches in this issue. And so Mark's just really bringing more and more monsters into the story every time. Out of Alcatraz, issue 5 from Oni Press. This is the wrap-up of Out of Alcatraz. And this is based on the presumably true story of the only people who ever escaped from Alcatraz prison, and what would have happened essentially if they had made it. And so this follows 3 guys who, escaped from Alcatraz. Well, I guess technically 4 of them did, but only 2 of them make it ashore at the beginning of the book, and we assume that one of them is dead. But if you've been reading the series, we've seen what his story is as well. This also follows the FBI agents that are trying to chase them down and figure out whether or not they actually were able to escape, as well as a woman who has shown up to offer them a chance at freedom. And that chance at freedom is actually really just a chance to go to Canada and work for years. And if they work off a certain amount of time, the people who pay, like, it would pay back the people who helped fund their escape from Alcatraz. This has come into a huge moment here where I don't want to spoil any of the back half of the book, so I'm just not going to show it to you. But we've come to the big fight, the big climax of the story. Everybody is head to head, all together. You get your big, moment of like mobsters, gangsters, criminals, the FBI, all of them coming together. Who's working with who's on whose side, who's going to make it out alive, who's actually going to find freedom. You're going to find all of that at the end of this series. And again, all finished now, so you can grab all 5 issues and read the whole thing as one big adventure. You'll Do Bad Things, issue 5 from Image. This is the biggest turn. Like this book, I say that like every issue of this, but this issue has such another big turn for this series. This is the story of a man who is a writer who is world famous for writing essentially a true crime story about a guy who murdered a bunch of people, and his book kind of was the big tell-all that helped not only catch the guy but also put him away. And now he doesn't want to do that anymore. He doesn't want his life to be about true crime. He wants to write something else. And so he's been working for the last 4 issues on trying to write a romance novel. But every time he goes into this and tries to write this happy romance, it ends up becoming crime scene after crime scene in the story. And the scariest part of all is every crime scene he writes becomes real. And people are dying in the exact same way that he's writing it. And so he realizes that he needs to figure it out because something strange is going on. And so in this issue, he actually goes to the guy that he put into prison and is like, tell me your story. Tell me that I'm not crazy. Tell me that you actually killed these people. Tell me that there's nothing weird and strange going on, and that I'm not writing this into reality, and that there's nothing wrong with me. And then you learn that guy's story, you learn all that truth to it, and then we learn a lot more about our main character, and we actually get some exposure to some really huge things. And I'm not going to show you the back half of the book because this is a huge turn in this story that you need to read it. And if you're looking for a good true crime serial killer story that has some really interesting turns in pacing, You'll Do Bad Things is definitely the one to grab. DuckTales, issue 5 from Dynamite. There is no true crime in this story at all. Don't worry, everybody. But it is exactly like watching an episode of the DuckTales cartoon. And so in this series, we've been following along as Scrooge McDuck is trying to teach his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, how to find treasure and why treasure. It's so important to look for treasure and collect treasure. And he has led them to this massive adventure all through Duckburg that led them to the library, and at the end of the last issue he told them that there was this other map, and they're looking at the maps in this issue and they realize that they all just kind of lead exactly back to where they started, and they're kind of frustrated with Uncle Scrooge because they're like, what could possibly be, then there is no treasure, you already have all the treasure, there's nothing here. And he's like, you're not understanding the purpose of the true treasure. And then the next day when they wake up and they want to apologize to Uncle Scrooge, they realize he's missing, and so they use his maps and his knowledge of how to find things to actually find Uncle Scrooge. And they kind of learn that the truest value of treasure is in the adventure, but also in the people you go on the adventure with. So it's super cute and wonderful, and it's always great to see Scrooge McDuck actually have a heart that's not just made of money. Dark Pyramid, issue 5 from Mad Cave. This is the wrap up of this really crazy miniseries. This is the story of a YouTuber who is trying to climb a mountaintop, Mount Denali specifically. And while he's out there and on this climb, doing the whole thing live, he goes missing. And so his girlfriend is like, I'm going to go find him. Well, when she gets there, she finds out that everybody in the town is kind of a crazy person that's hiding something from her, and she doesn't really know what it is. And over the course of the series, we've learned that what it is that there's mysterious dark pyramid inside of Mount Denali that is unleashing some possibly horrific, possibly extremely dangerous creatures and beings into the world, and they have been entangled with this now. The military, the police, all these different people are just trying to keep them from it, and they're also trying to bury these people from ever getting the ability to expose it. And in this issue, we kind of see all of it come to a head, much like we've been talking about with the other ones. We've seen a lot of it come to a head here in this. We discover what happened to the boyfriend. We discover what these monsters are. And we make some big choices for the future of the Dark Pyramid and the people around it. Crush Depth, issue 5, also from Mad Cave, and also wrapping up this week. This is an underwater horror story about a group of people who the surface has become toxic and dangerous, and so they don't live on it. They live on submarines. And in this submarine, they discover that there is a beacon coming from someone who says that they have found life. And when they go to investigate it, they end up bringing back a very dangerous symbiotic life force that is taking over the ship, very alien-esque kind of thing, but underwater. And in this issue, because it is the final one, our final girl and the remaining people on the team are trying to figure out how to get past these monstrous creatures that have been created on their ship, and also whether or not it's more dangerous to stay underground or if they should return to the potential surface that may or may not be safe for them now. And you got to read it to find out what they choose and what happens. Blade Forger, also issue 5, also from Mad Cave. And guess what? Also wrapping up this week. This does say it's the end of the prologue, so we may see this world get even bigger, even faster as time goes on. But this is all about a world where basically an emperor is chosen, or an empress is chosen every 5 years through a battle of swords and like mystical sword fighting battles. And so this empress has been ruling for a very long time, and she's the daughter of the previous emperor. And so this family has been at the top of the game for forever. And we found out now that she's at the final battle against this like really crazy being, that she can't actually tap into the one thing she needs to be able to win this competition. And she is been training for it, and we're kind of the only ones that know, because as far as the world knows, she has the skill she needs. And we get to see exactly how that plays out for her, and whether or not she's able to actually ever call to light the battle that she is fighting, the power that she needs to fight this battle, and whether or not she wins. But this is, like I said, listed as the end of the prologue, so where this world's gonna go, I have no idea, because wow, that was not how I thought that was gonna end. So we'll see. We've got Silverhawks issue 5 from Dynamite. This is kind of the end, I guess, for now of the Silverhawks, or at least it could be. I'm like, it could lead us to, I guess it does say there's another issue coming, so it's gonna lead us to another adventure. We've been trying to build a new Silverhawks team in this series so far. Basically, the old Silverhawks team that's from the cartoon has grown old and is retiring, and they're trying to build a new one. And the reason why that they finally decided to do a new team is because the ultimate villain, Monstar, has broken out of prison and has come back, and they need a Silverhawks team to defeat him. But because they are new and they don't know what they're doing, they are suffering very, very badly at the hands of this evil monster. And so they are trying to figure out how to work together and do it. And in this issue, they do come head to head with that. Ultimately, like, how are we going to defeat this bad guy, and they get their butts kicked for a lot of the series. And so if you want to see this new team come together, you want to see how they build out a new Silverhawks team, if you're a fan of the cartoon, or if you just want to see something like a new adventure series, this is a good one for you if you're liking all of the other like 80s cartoons come back kind of comics. The Last Boy, issue 4 from Boom Studios. This is from the same team that brought you Alice Ever After and Alice Never After, the Alice in Wonderland retelling. Now they are doing that with Peter Pan. If you haven't read it yet, this is Neverland has become very different. Captain Hook has turned over a new leaf. Tiger Lily and her group of people are now working with the pirates. They've all kind of figured out how to survive together, except for one person, and that's Peter, who is all on his own. He has no Lost Boys anymore, and he feels like he can't handle the fact that Neverland is changing, and so he tries to get involved in the same way he always does, and he makes a very terrible mistake very early on in issue 1. And now a dark, shadowy creature has come and is threatening all of Neverland. And Peter is like, you know what, I'm just going to go somewhere else and I'm just going to leave, and who cares? But he realizes that maybe that's not the best solution in this issue. Maybe he needs to actually stand up and fight for it. Meanwhile, in the real world, we see Wendy dealing with the fact that her mother wants her to marry. She is an adult now. She's put everything off except for her storytelling and her work with children. And her family is telling her maybe it's time for her to grow up. And so Wendy is having a very similar experience. Whether or not their paths are ever going to connect, whether or not we're going to see that, you know, maybe Wendy is just making up the Peter Pan stories. We haven't actually seen how those two worlds intersect just yet, but I have a feeling we will soon. The Great British Bump Off, issue 4 from Dark Horse, and this is the wrap-up of this experience that we have. This is volume 2, or second adventure of Great British Bump Off. You do not have to have read the first one to read this one. It's just an all-new adventure for Shauna, our would-be detective. And in this series, it's Killer Bee Quilt, and Shauna has gone on an adventure for this summer, and she ends up tarnishing, completely destroying one whole side of her uncle's boat. And so she decides she needs to get a job to raise some money to fix it. In the process of doing that, she gets involved in a mysterious situation where two quilting stores are at war with each other. And in the process of their wars, we're seeing things getting, cars getting blown up and buildings getting flooded and all kinds of stuff. And so Shauna has decided that first and foremost, maybe she just needs to help them come to terms with the fact that they should be friends and not fighting amongst the quilting stores. And this issue kind of leads to a quilt-off being judged by a very well-known elderly quilter in the area. And so Shauna is like, if I can't solve the mystery, maybe I can at least just get them to stop fighting. And so that's what her plan is for this one. But at the same time, it finally makes some clues break open for her, and she is able to actually get more of her mission solved as she comes to the end of her adventure. I hope we get another one. John Allison, keep writing Great British Bump Off books for forever. They could just keep going, and I would never be mad. Bronze Face-ish, issue 4 from Boom Studios. This is the story of a group of people who all have the same surrogate dad, a person who raised them on art and culture in their village, and now over the years they've drifted apart, and now they've come back together because the art of the mask that their surrogate father created are being put on display in museums and far away from their culture. And they decide that they're tired of seeing their culture being appropriated by other people, and so they end up creating a group of people who are just going to go on heists around the world and steal back all this art and return it to people who it actually belongs to. And in the process of one of their big ventures, there is actually, in the last issue, a situation gone wrong, and one of their people is lost to them, and they figure out that they all have very angry feelings towards that, and all have very different ways that they think that they should continue to move forward. And in this issue, we are just honestly dealing with the fallout of that, of who's responsible, what is the problem, how do we move forward, what is the past history that's caused all these people to have the tension that they do, and are the heists going to even continue, and if they're not going to continue, are people going to start backdoor deals and trying to backstab people so that they can get the money and things that they've already collected for themselves. And so we're facing some big problems in the Bronze Faces universe right now, but hopefully they can get it all together and knock it out. Thundercats Lost, issue 4 from Dynamite. This is an expansion of your Thundercats universe that's going on, but it follows a completely different team. We're not following Lion-O and Chitara and the usual people. This is a different group of suspects who are on the Third Earth trying to figure out if this is the place that the Thundercats should go someday. And so this is at a different time point in the Thundercats universe timeline, and they are over here trying to figure it out, and they've learned that there's some weird stuff happening here. They're trying to figure out who these other mysterious people are, what are all these bad guys on this planet, what could have happened to the other Thundercats that came here. And as they try to figure these things out, we see a lot of underhanded fighting going on and infighting within the team. And so in this issue, they're really just kind of trying to figure out who this mysterious cult of people is that they've run into and what they have to do with the disappearance of the other Thundercats. And there's some big fights that happen and some big movements towards maybe realizing that they're acting more rash than they should, and maybe they should start taking things a little slower. Again, if you're a fan of Thundercats or any of the 80s cartoon comics out right now, you definitely need it. And if you're reading the main Thundercats series, you should definitely read that because it's going to cross over in some big ways. Flash Gordon Quarterly, issue 4 from Mad Cave. This is going to feature a bunch of different stories about the Flash Gordon universe that on this issue are not really actually about Flash Gordon at all. The first one follows the Dr. Zarkov as he is imprisoned in this camp, and he's like, I've been through this before, I'm going to have to get my way out of it. And they have these robots that these cybernetic robots that are their enforcers that keep them in the different pods, and the only thing that stays the same is the robot goes with them. Otherwise their group is transferred to different pods with different people constantly, and so they can't form a plan and they can't escape. He ends up creating essentially a golem out of the robot and manages to get it to understand that it should be fighting for the people instead of against the people, and tries to build a resistance and a way out through that. And then the second story in here, and I'm going to see if I can actually find it, is one that kind of gears more around Dale and how Dale is a hero. If you don't know, that is Flash Gordon's wife, and so it's just kind of more of or I guess love interest, not always his wife, but mostly his wife. And it's just kind of geared around her and her trying to stop some bad guys, and getting to work with Dr. Zarkov, because most of these kind of center mostly around Dr. Zarkov and different things that he's doing. And so this is a Dale adventure with him, and it's so short that I don't want to tell you too much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but there's some cool monsters and some big bad guys that she has to fight. And then the last one, was it the last one, or is there 2 more? I think there's 2 more, but so I was like, because this one was really short. But anyway, there's more Flash Gordon stories. There's a lot of fun to be had if you're enjoying the Flash Gordon series that's going on. These are not in order with them, they're just fun one shots that come out in the Flash Gordon world. So grab it and enjoy it. Lucky Devils, issue 4 from Image Comics. This is the team behind 8 Billion Genies and Curse Words' newest story. And it's been on a little bit of a delay because Charles Soule has been working on his, The Cold Witch and the Shrouded College story. So it's nice to have this back. But this follows a world where essentially the little devils and demons work to try to corrupt humans. And the more influence your human has on the human world, the higher up in the levels of hell that you are in like the corporate structure of hell. And we follow two devils that are not very high up, and they've never really been given a good chance to grow up in that process in the corporate ladder. And so what they decide to do is they're assigned to people who are very nice and very non-corruptible. And so what they decide is that they should use good things happening to them to grow their influence. And it's like, oh, let's just lean into the fact that they're nice. And if we get them to have a bigger influence, then when we cause them to do something wrong, it'll impact more people. And so they find themselves actually just doing good things and actually getting really close with their humans that they're working with. And they're still growing up those corporate ladders because all that's registering down in hell is that their humans are getting higher and higher influence. And so they're realizing maybe there's a secret path here. But in this issue, some other devils have figured out that there might be some people who are doing good instead of evil, and they send a bounty hunter after them to find out who it is. And so danger lurks soon for our rake and collar friends who are our little devils in need. Sleep issue 3 from Image Comics. This is done so well because there's so little text to this story, but there's just this great color that like of red that runs through it. But this is all about a young man who lives in a small town, and suddenly one day they find that something is attacking people within the city, and it's bad and it's monsters. I'm gonna show you this because it's like so shows you how big of a depth of something attacking it is. And he learns that every time these monster attacks happen, he seems to wake up not far from them or somehow feeling like he's connected to them. And he's starting to panic more and more as he realizes he might very well be the monster, or the monster might be something else connected to him, and he's trying to figure it out. And none of his friends are taking him seriously. Nobody in the town the police aren't taking him seriously, and he's just getting more and more scared that he is actually going to destroy everything and everybody he loves, and is always afraid to fall asleep. And we are still not seeing a lot of what's happening, which was what makes the good pieces of the horror kind of like blend as it goes forward slowly in this story. Money Shot, Big Bang. I was like, what is the subtitle of this? Issue 3 from Vault. I'm going to see if I can show you anything, but basically if you don't know Money Shot, this is a great one to jump in on, honestly, because it is building us building off of the universe that already exists for the Money Shot world, but re-explaining the whole thing at the same time. But it is about a group of, hey, this page is safe. It is about a group of scientists who can't fund their research anymore. And so they decide to start making adult films out of all the different places that they go to. And so they're making adult films with aliens and different creatures around the galaxy. And they're using the money they make off of that to fund the research they're doing to further science. And anyway, in this volume, they have found out that somebody is trying to kill them, who is a person who is extremely like anti-sex. I was going to show you that page. I can't show you anything else. There's a person that runs a cult that's extremely anti-sex, and they are trying to take out all of the explorers, and they've now seen their death, and so they're trying to work their way back and figure out a way to like stop this person from getting to a point where they start this cult and they hate sex and they come after them. And it's fantastic. And in this issue, they realize that like maybe they might have to break up their own group just to change history a little bit, because they feel like they're causing the history to the future to happen with the actions they're doing, and so they're still trying to figure it out. Anyway, in case you didn't catch this is all for adults 18 and up. Nobody else should be grabbing this because it is extremely nude and lewd on the inside, but it is a great story if you are an adult. It's funny, it's like great action, great story, great heart. Patton Oswalt is writing it with Tim Seeley, who's the creator of it, so you should read it. It's fun. We've got Lost Fantasy issue 3 from Image Comics. This has built a really big universe really quickly for this. This is a world where Magic exists, and there's a group of people who essentially are working to protect it and who also use it to protect humanity in a similar way to like the way the House of Slaughter keeps monsters that people can't see from attacking children, and something is killing the children. These people use their magic as a way to protect humans from things that they can't see and don't understand. And in the very first issue, a murder occurs through magic, and our lead character, our lead investigator, goes out to investigate it, and something happens, and he kind of loses it. He gets what they call a mind worm in his brain, and so another investigator has come out, and it is his rival, and now they are having to work together to kind of figure out who is attacking them and what is going on. Meanwhile, at the main office, a quorum of all the leaders from all the different houses have come together, and one of them is convinced that it is another leader of another house that is causing all of the murder and mayhem to happen, and they're like, we cannot do anything until there's proof, and don't make this something that becomes a danger for everybody because you throw false accusations around. And so our investigators have an even bigger task now because they have to prove that there is somebody within their own who is causing the problems, and we're going to find out if they can. Exquisite Corpses, issue 3 from Image Comics and the Tiny Onion group, which is, James Tynion and friends. This is such a popular book, and no surprise as to why. But it is all about, basically the original 13 colonies are represented by 13 families who still kind of run America from the backside. And every 4 years they come together and they have a battle to see whose family is going to be the one who gets to control everything in America for the next 4 years. And they do it by taking over a small town where nobody's going to notice and having a battle of their own selected champions who just go through and fight to the death, essentially. And what they've learned over the years is that they can also put side bets and raise tons of money for themselves and all kinds of other things just on how many people will be killed in the town. And then once they've wiped the town and everybody basically off the face of the planet, they just wipe it all away and the winner comes across. Well, we have been seeing each of these issue so far has shown a different champion who gets killed out of the bracket, and a different champion who kind of starts to take the lead. And in this one, we're following around as Nurse Pete kind of enters the game and is attacking people. But the heartfelt side of it is that our lead character, one of our lead characters of the town, is an EMT, and so she has been with Pete, thinking he was somebody that was on their side and a friend through all of this, and so it kind of exposes her to the fact that something dark and dangerous is happening in the town, all happening on Halloween evening one year. And so we're going to see who makes it out and who doesn't, and what crazy things happen as the story continues. It's cool because there's a bracket in the back, and so you can kind of guess what the next story is going to be and who's gonna bite the dust. You get to kind of gamble on. Dark Honor, issue 3 from Image and Top Cow. This is the story. This is actually one of the few stories that takes place during COVID. But this is about a woman who is a part of a mafia family, and when she's let out of jail early because of COVID and them trying to release the amount of prisoners in it, and when she goes back to her family, she finds out that a new mobster has moved into town named Gregor, and he is trying to take over all of the families. And she's like, hey, let me in, I can help with the family battle. She's a member of the family that just exists to fight and protect all the other ones, and they're like, no, we don't want you involved, you betrayed us, you got in trouble, you went to jail. And she's like, let me help, I can do something. Well, now they don't let her help, and we learn in this issue that all the families each have a key. The head of the family each has a key, and the 6 keys come together to open up the financial power backing all of these mobsters who run the town together. And now Gregor is on a hunt to get all of these keys, and she may be the only person that is far enough removed from the situation that she can actually fight it. But whether or not they're going to let her in is another story. Also, it says this is Top Cow, and it's totally syzygy, not Top Cow. So there it is. But big rollout in this issue. We definitely saw, like, this was the first time we learned about these keys. It's the first time we learned about the family structures and how they all fight, and so we really expanded the world in this issue. And so if you're into mobster stories and like those crime family stories, or if you really liked The Dark Knight, it's kind of a very similar plot. Like, it's like he's like the Joker coming in to steal all of their town control and money. And I wouldn't be surprised if he burns it all in the end, too. We've got Vanishing Point, issue 3 from Mad Cave. This is an anthology series from Mark Russell that just makes some fun sci-fi stories that remind you that there's more to the world than your brain is thinking. This one specifically is about a facility that has realized that the best thing that they can do for the world and their own corporate gain, let's be honest, is take creatures from different planets and research them and do different kind of investigations and tests on them. And they're constantly trying to train inject different things into these creatures, and then most of them don't survive, and they've got them in these terrible cells and all these kind of things. And well, they do some experiments on one guy, and who's very Swamp Thing meets Man Thing, and he's very Man Thing. He gets loose, and he's making his way through the thing, and the corporate leader is like, "What is going on?" And they're like, it's so funny because the security guys come up, and they're like, "Wait, how is this our fault? Like, you did experiments on the guy that made him strong enough and smart enough to get out of the cell in a way that we couldn't stop him. And yet you're mad at us, but isn't it actually like the scientists and the protocols problems, not our problem?" And they're like, "No, and now you're the new people we're going to experiment on." Like, they're like, "How dare you accuse us of making something that would be our own problem?" But it's so fascinating to see Mark Russell just kind of talk about the way that, like, no matter where we go in space and like how we do anything, like, we're always just going to be like these people that are the worst thing that we could come across, and yet like freedom is never really going to be available to us because we're always going to experiment on each other and do bad things. And so, it's the Mark Russell of it all. You got a great sci-fi story, but there's something deeper in there every time. The Pale Knight, issue 3 from Mad Cave. I have the Shannon rule of 3, and I always say the 3rd issue is the turn, and if you're not sure about a book, wait till the 3rd issue. I will honestly say I have fallen for the Shannon rule of 3. I didn't know if Pale Knight was a book that I was going to be like super into, and now I'm like, I love this issue so much, and I see the turn, and it's so interesting. But this is the story of a knight who is kind of dealing with the bubonic plague, zombieism. We're not really kind of sure like how far this really stretches. And he returns home with his squire to find out that his son has been stricken with this plague. And he's like, "I've never done anything good in this world. All I've done is fight and kill people. And I don't think my son should pay the damage for my evilness." And so he makes a deal with death that's like, "I will do whatever you want if you spare my son." And Death's like, "Okay, kill this guy. I hate this guy. I can't kill him. Take him out." Well, he decides he's not going to do that because he doesn't want to just like fall for what Death says. And so he backs out on it, and now he's starting to have these visions that his son is sick again, and that his son is like dancing with the devil and is dead, and that there's nothing he can do to save him. And so he's like, "I have to get back to my son." But the closer he gets back to his son, the more dangerous and like dastardly these visions get. And so he's like, "I don't know, like maybe there's more to it." And then his squire is starting to act like really not on his side. And in this issue, they actually find a woman who is being going to be burned at the stake that they're claiming is a witch. And she's like, "I'm not a witch. I've never done any like witchy things. I just am a woman," essentially. And so they decide like they need to bring this woman along on their journey. And it's the addition of this character that really rounds out their group, and also his new conversations with Death that change the force and course of this story. And really, I am so interested to see where this is going to go from here on out. Space Quest issue 3 from Dynamite. This is the combination of the crossover, I should say, of Space Ghost and Johnny Quest. And so, what?
That's an Amazing Fantasy 15 homage cover.
By Mark Spears.
Mark Spears.
And so this is basically in issue 1, the kids from Space Ghost, actually Jan and I don't remember his name. But the 2 kids from Space Ghost, I totally forgot his name. It's Jason. It's one of those. Anyway, it's like the Wonder Twins because they also have their space monkey. They get sucked back into time, where Johnny Quest's family is, and Johnny Quest and Haji get sucked into the future, with Space Ghost. And so, Johnny's dad is trying to help the kids figure out how to rebuild the futuristic technology in this 1960s time period. Meanwhile, Johnny is stuck on Nightmare Planet, and he's trying to figure out how to help Space Ghost fight these big villains that are way beyond anything he's ever seen before, because he's never been out against all of these monstrous creatures. And in the process of doing it, they realize that they kind of all are dealing with the same things in the same way, but in just completely different time periods. But in this issue, we actually see them have to figure out how to take over the military base that Johnny's dad is on, so that they can actually get the technology and build what they need. And so hijinks ensue on both sides, and the adventure gets bigger as the story continues. You gotta love it. You gotta love some fun adventure. The Missionary, issue 3 from Distillery. This is the last issue of this story, and I'm so glad it's finally here because, again, this is another one of those Distillery books that we had to wait on a little bit. But if you didn't read this story so far, it's very... it's by Ryan Stegman, which is funny because it's very Venom-esque, in that a guy is possessed by a demon who becomes like a sentient force that he's able to talk to and tap into whenever he can, and they are having to try to figure out how to stop the end of the world because there's an uprising in hell, and he's like, hey, you're the only one that can help me stop it. Meanwhile, the Earthling is like, I am such a loser and I have nothing going for me. My wife is cheating on me with the pastor from the church. Like, I have nothing, like no good stuff going. And so they have kind of like, they've developed this symbiotic relationship, and in this issue we see who is trying to cause the uprising in hell. We see how they're going to battle out against that, and we get to see them learn how to team up and learn like what a team up actually means for them, and we get to see some angels and demons fighting each other, and yeah, it's just, I don't want to spoil too much of the ending, so I don't want to tell you too much about it, but this big battle does come to some big points in this, and it all happens in IMAX 3D. Okay, it's not 3D, it's just IMAX, but check it out. I can't even show you the cover of this book, so I'm going to show you nothing. But Hot Valley Days and Cocaine Nights Part 2 from Keenspot is out, and I'm not going to show you the cover, but I will show you the inside. So we're just going to skip to a page. The cover is actually more provocative than the inside of the story. So, but this is based on a true story. It's actually the story of a woman named Janie who ran away from home and moved to LA and became a drug dealer. And it's all of what led to her death, because she ends up trying to like get out of the world of dealing drugs, and in the process of that ends up dead. And in this issue, in issue 1, we kind of saw the running away and the getting involved in it. We get more of how she actually starts to build her business in this issue, as our flashbacks are all to where she comes in contact with and start making connections with people, and we see that their big thing was that they tried to build their empire of selling drugs through the music industry. So it's like, okay, if we go to the A&R guys from the record companies, then they'll go to the marketing departments, and then the marketing departments will go to the musicians, and then they'll also go to the radio DJs, like basically until it gets radio play for the bands. And all that will come from just like passing drugs along the way. And so they build out their whole clientele that way. Meanwhile, we see the stuff that's happening at the end of her time, which is Janie's brother brother trying to kind of usurp her in power with some of his friends and kind of take some of that away from her and kind of selling her out to the big boss, saying she's not invested anymore and that she's not paying attention. And we get to the point at this issue where she's kind of realizes that the end of her life is like the end of her time with them, and possibly the her danger zone is coming on the very last couple of pages. And so we know it's a true story, so we know she doesn't make it, but we're about to find out how next issue. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Captain Planet is back with issue 2 from Dynamite. So I can show you all of this book. This is fantastic. If you are
Tom's in the chat and he says, if I don't see the cover, how will I know if I have that issue?
You'll know. Captain Planet and the Planeteers issue 2 is rebuilding the world that you had in your Captain Planet cartoons as a kid, but with a modern flair to it. In issue 1, each of the Planeteers were given the rings of the elemental powers, but they don't know that because they're Planeteers, they don't know about Captain Planet. They don't really know anything. All they know is that this mysterious voice of a woman named Gaia is leading them to New York City, and they all end up there in this issue, and immediately they do not get along. There is a lot of infighting because they don't know that they're supposed to be a team. They don't even know that they're all there for the same reason. They all just kind of are at each other's throats for different things. And it's as they come together, once their heart is included, they actually get to have they get to understand that there is a evil corporation that is trying to destroy Earth, and that they are the ones who have to battle against it, and that might be the way that they need to hunt down and find Gaia. And so we get to see our team come together for the first time, which means we also get to see some very cool Captain Planet kind of moments, and you have to see them, not because it's a surprise in any way, but also because it's just so cool all at the same time. David Peoples is writing this. He's also doing Speed Racer and Space Ghost right now, so it's really cool because he's just bringing so many of the fan favorite cartoons to life, and he's crushing it. He was very excited about Captain Planet earlier this year, and I see why as I'm reading it. Blue Palo Verde issue 2 from Mad Cave. This is the story of a woman who just recently was released from jail, and she's very excited to get to go home and see her dad. And when she gets home, she realizes that he's not there anymore. She finds out that he's moved to some other place, and she's like, I have to go find him. I have to thank him for all the stuff he did for me while I was in jail. I have to make sure he's okay. He was, old and sick. And so she goes to this new town, and when she gets to the town that he's in, she's told that the doctor knows where he is. And so she goes to visit the old doctor in town, and he's like, oh yeah, your dad's fine, don't worry about it, I'll pass on any notes to him, you should just leave town. And the police kind of give her the same thing. And if you read the issue 1, you know that there is some creepy cult stuff happening in this town. Issue 2 picks up right where issue 1 left off ish. And the police officer is now threatening her once again that she needs to leave town. And she's like, I'm not going to leave until I find my dad. And they're like, I will send you back to jail. And so she ends up, sneaking around and trying to find her dad. And when she finds her dad, she discovers that there is some stuff going on in this town that is very strange. And she doesn't really know how to address it. And she doesn't really know how to get by with everything that's going on, but we get some more creepy cult stuff going on and some weirdness from the doctor and everybody else in town as she just tries to figure out how to keep her dad safe from whatever weirdness these people are up to, which we still don't know, and I'm very curious to find out. Biker Mice from Mars, issue 2 from Oni Press. We had a previous Biker Mice from Mars that was a 3-shot mini that kind of let us know that Biker Mice from Mars was back. This picks up around where all of that left off. But in this series, we are seeing that the Plutonians, the people from Pluto, are attacking Mars, and they have recently developed a system where they could take a machine and basically cause volcanoes to go off, and they just recently did that and flooded out with lava and destruction. The small town that most of the biker mice's family lived in. And so they have come in to save the town and their community. And while they're trying to do that, they realize that like the military isn't going to stand up and do anything against these people. They're like, there's no proof it was them. There's no proof it wasn't just a volcano that erupted. We can't stop them. And the biker mice are like, look, we're freedom fighters. We're going to fight against it. And if y'all aren't going to help us, then we're just going to go without you. And so in this issue, we kind of see them investigating to try to find some evidence that could help them get the military on their side, but also realizing like they're going to do whatever it takes to save people, because that's what the biker mice do. And it's just a really fun, heartfelt series. Lazarus Fallen, issue 2 from Image Comics. This is a return of the Lazarus series. What's really great about this is that they have a very detailed description of what happened in Lazarus if you never read it, or if it's been, like 10 years, because I think that's how long it's been, and you need a refresher. But basically in the Lazarus series, there was, evil, corrupt corporation made some, murder people out of their family, kind of like clones and things like that. And now they kind of led to some destruction and some fall of that in the first series, but not enough that like they didn't actually like completely take down this evil empire. And 2 of the sisters have made it away from the 2 that were supposed to be our big assassins and stuff for the family in the first series. And so they've made it away, and they have actually chosen to join up with the resistance. And in the process of doing that, they learned that they had a brother that they didn't know about. And he has been living in France with this resistance. And so as they go to join him in the resistance, they are having to prove themselves that they are not still members of the family that they once belonged to, and that they're not actually trying to just infiltrate the group and stop them. And there are some wild ways that they try to prove that. Great action spy thriller from Greg Rucka. So if you're looking for a good spy style story with some good action and some multiple layers to your story, this is a great one. Even if you didn't read the original volume, you can jump in with that little description. News from the Fallout, issue 2 from Image Comics. This is a fantastic series. It is so good. If you are a fan of That Texas Blood, Chris Condon is doing this one as well. And so you need to jump in on that. Or if you're Ultimate Wolverine fans and you're looking for an indie, same writer. So nothing the same, but same writer. This is, it takes place during 1954 when they are working on the nuclear bomb. And what happens in this story is that they decide to not remove the people because they want to see how far essentially the stretch of the fallout will actually be. And so a bunch of soldiers are still right there when it happens, and only one of them starts to think that it might be dangerous, so he puts on his gas mask, and this one soldier is the only one that survives whatever comes out of this fallout. And he runs from these like zombie vampire-esque type monsters to the town not far away from where the test was done. And he arrived in the end of issue 1, he arrives at a diner, and he's like, we need to board up all the doors, and we need to be safe and watch out for what's coming. And nobody believes him. And so this issue 2 is just entirely him trying to convince the people in the diner that something terrible is coming. And they get little glimpses of it as it gets closer and closer. And so it builds this great tension the entire issue as he's like, but we have to do something. And it's so great because it's a small town, and so they're like, no, that's fine, they just kind of blow him off the whole time. And as that tension builds, it's so great. And the way that the art is done completely in shadow, you never see anything except for like little whites of eyes and stuff like that. It just really makes the whole thing like more creepy and feel very like redacted all at the same time. Heat Seeker Exposed, issue 2 from Titan Comics. This is a part of your Gun Honey and your Hard Case worlds, which if you are, again, a spy thriller kind of person, this is a great series for you. And in this series, our lead character has been ousted as somebody who is an assassin and who does do all of these cover-ups and different things for these big clients. And she's just found out that somebody wants to expose her and all of her client lists so that she can be put into, you know, taken out, like, you know, they're burning her. And so she is trying to figure out how to get away from all of that, because she has finally figured out how to have a happy life. She's got a girlfriend. She adopted a kid that she rescued from a different case, and so she's living this happy life, and now these people are coming for her, and so she's got to go back into her spy experience, and we get to see exactly what that looks like as she goes after different clients to see who is the one that's coming for her, as well as watching the police come for her, getting to see her come do some really cool costume changes and going undercover in different ways. And it's just a fun espionage thriller for adults. Again, highly mature on the inside, so don't give it to children, but enjoy it if you just want a really cool, awesome woman kicking butt. And speaking of women kicking butt, we have Gehenna Naked Aggression issue 2 from Image Comics. Actually, even with the word naked in it, this one doesn't have nudity. So, but this is about a woman who is going after the people who killed her husband. She believed, or at least that's what we believed, is that she is trying to kidnap the son of the mobster who is responsible for the death of her husband. In this issue, we actually learn that that's not entirely the case. There's more to it than that, as she and the child are still on the run, which has actually become like kind of endearing, because she's kidnapped this kid, but the kid is just like her sidekick now, and as they try to make their way through the town, as a different assassin is coming after her, and so they're being chased by all these people, and the kid's just like, no, we should go this way, no, we should do this, like, wait, don't grab that, I'll get it, and like, they just, oh my gosh, we have to push these buttons, we have to do this. And so it's just kind of cute to have her and this kid that she kidnapped going on this adventure together away from this evil assassin, but also like, she's teaching him that his dad is a bad person, and she's teaching him that sometimes, you know, bad things happen to good people, and you kind of have to fight for it. And we're not really sure, like, after this issue, like, why she specifically is kidnapping this kid, but I think we're going to learn that as they continue to develop a beautiful friendship through this battle. It's just one big battle through the city, and it's kind of just an awesome action story. Gargoyles Demona issue 2 from Dynamite. The world of Gargoyles has been back in the comics for about 2 years now, and the big question everybody has had has been, why isn't Demona part of the story? Because she hasn't really featured in it. And so this series is actually going back in time and giving us Demona's whole story from beginning to end. And so we are in the 1100s, and we're seeing her team up with different kinds of people. And so in this issue, she's teaming up with some Viking kings who are supposed to be, you know, she's being told that they're the better people, and they're like the ones who can use her help. And she's like, oh, I don't trust humans. I never trust humans. Every gargoyle that's ever trusted humans has been destroyed. And I've got Angelica that I have to keep safe. And she ends up teaming up with them and some other gargoyles in general, and kind of helping them take out some bad kingdoms of humans, and going on this massive adventure that spans decades and decades in this. And we kind of just get to see that whole story play out, and them build that relationship as they go into whatever the next decade or century or whatever we're going to see of Demona as we work her way towards the modern story. We've got Bitchcraft issue 2 from Mad Cave. This is the story of 3 witches who are really young. They're in their like 20s, and they're just trying to figure out how to get their lives together, and also how to be better witches. And so they each have powers that kind of strengthen out their coven. And in issue 1, they're trying to figure out how to do a spell on their own without having to rely on their, you know, their mentor to guide them through it. And they end up accidentally getting rid of the sun and casting the world into like this eternal darkness. And they're like, ooh, we should really fix it. But like, before we do that, like, maybe we could go to the club, because they're 20-somethings and they make terrible decisions. And not only did that terrible decision lead to the world being cast in darkness, but it also registered with this like anti-witch society who's been trying to kill witches all over the world for centuries, that witches were in the town and that witches were active again. And so now that society is coming after them, and they are forced to not only figure out how to fix the problem that they caused, but now they're going to have to actually learn how to fight against these people who are coming for them, and maybe stop being so stinking selfish, because they're so young and so dumb, and they just need to get it together. Speaking of young witches that need to get it together, Last Witch, issue 2. This is Blood and Betrayal. It's the newest volume from Boombox. It does pick up exactly where the previous Last Witch left off, and so if you didn't read it, you kind of won't know what's going on. But this is about a young girl in Ireland who learns that she has witch powers, and she learns that when she goes off into the woods like she's not supposed to, and an evil witch attacks the community and she has to save them. She's been on this massive adventure now, trying to take out all of the evil witches that are all connected to her through relatives, and she's got to take out all of them. And as she takes each one, she learns a different element, which will help her eventually take on the ultimate bad guy. And she's been working with her grandmother. She's been working to protect her little brother. They're all kind of traveling together, and they have been traveling with a half-fae, half-human boy who has been helping her also train. And in this issue, they actually finally face off against the Earth Witch, that's kind of the most powerful of the four sisters. And she almost loses it entirely because they use her memories of her parents as a way to battle against her. And the hardest thing is that the more magic she uses and the more angry she becomes, the more she's losing herself. And in this issue, she makes some really terrible choices with her personality and just kind of can't hold it together. And it seems like Gran is kind of leading her down that and kind of using her in that way. And so we're starting to wonder if maybe we shouldn't trust the grandma. And where is this all going to lead? I don't know, but I am so excited that they are finally doing more of this series, because this was one of my favorite series when Volume 1 came out, and I'm so glad it's back. We've got Christopher Chaos, Children of the Night, issue 2 from Dark Horse and our friends at Tiny Onion. This is a new volume of Christopher Chaos. It's kind of a good jumping in point, because they do recap enough of it so you'll kind of know what's going on. But Christopher Chaos has been going on for a couple of years now. And so if you don't know, Chris is a young boy who is essentially kind of Victor Frankenstein in the modern time. And he is friends with a bunch of other monsters kind of people. He's friends with a girl who talks to ghosts and controls ghost cats. A vampire. He has some werewolves that are a part of his monster group, and they have a mentor who is in fact Adam Frankenstein, or the creature from the Frankenstein story. And they have been dealing with this evil group that is trying to destroy all monsters and has been kind of coming after them. And one of their friends in the very first issue is killed by this secret society, and so that's where Adam has kind of come in and tried to lead them through the path. They are separated from Adam at this point. There's some stuff that went down in the last volume, and he hasn't been with them as of the first couple issues, but a new person shows up, a certain Dr. Jekyll, and he is determined to be their new mentor and be a part of their life, and swears that he does not have Hyde-like tendencies anymore. And we get to see some big battles coming their way through that. But the other thing is that this is a flip book, because in the first issue of Children of the Night, Christopher is reading comics about monsters. And so they are actually giving us the comics about the monsters that Christopher is reading at the back of every issue. And this one is all about a girl who is in love with a boy who decides to build his own perfect girlfriend. And when his human friend seems sad about it, he realizes maybe he should build her a perfect boyfriend. And so he builds a Frankenstein's monster style boyfriend for her, and it does not go the way any of them plan. I love it because you get 2 stories in one in every issue, and honestly, it's still only $4.99. So the fact that you're getting two books for $4.99 is really great. And the Christopher Chaos story has really gotten so good. We do have trade paperbacks of the arc right before this, which features a story in it that was one of the Batastic Award, like, best single issue stories of last year. So you should grab that volume and catch up on Christopher Chaos. Yes, we are going to take another drink. I want to know what it tastes like now. We're drinking, what is this called? Tarima? Oh my gosh. That's good. That's good wine.
Yeah, it's got a little spice to it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really opened up to spicier flavors.
It definitely tastes more plum.
Definitely tastes more plum. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see if they have anything on there, but no, it has nothing about like their fruits and stuff, but it's good.
For the first time ever, someone in the chat is actually drinking wine.
Oh, really? What
Yeah,
are they
it's
drinking?
Tom, and he's drinking a Decoy Merlot 2019.
Ooh, thanks for sharing what wine you're drinking with us. And also let us know if we need to, try it sometime. Is it like super sweet Merlot? I'm not usually a Merlot fan. So is it super sweet? Is it like a little bit less sweet? Because a non-sweet Merlot can, I can kind of do sometimes. So let us know what you're thinking of the flavor, Tom. And that was the perfect segue because we're at number 1s now. So we've got Hero Hito #1 from Keenspot, and I'm not gonna lie, this book is so adorable. I want everybody to read it. This is all about, it almost has My Bad feels to it, but with like a kid coming into the story to me. But it's about a superhero who is a complete and total jerk. He's determined to be he's like, I'm the world's best hero. And I know that because I have commercials and I have corporate sponsorships. And he's like, his butler is like, hey, you should go help these people. They're in danger. And he's like, ooh, but there's not really a lot of press that would go there. What if I take on this other thing that these people need help? And they're like, well, they don't really need help. And he's like, yeah, but they'll get some great pictures. And so he's just kind of a complete, jerk the whole time, and you're like, you're not a very good hero. You're just somebody who wants attention, who has superpowers, and you only help people for your own good. And he ends up meeting these kids at this orphanage, and this one kid is like, my name is Hiro, and he was like, I'm gonna sue you for copyright infringement because my name is Hiro. And he's like, well, it's not spelled the same. And he's like, yeah, your parents should know better. And he's like, well, I don't really have parents. Like, I'm in an orphanage. And he's like a complete jerk to this kid. Anyway, he ends up meeting like a wizard who's like, you're a terrible person. You don't deserve your powers. The next time you touch somebody who's worthy of your powers, they're going to go away from you and they're going to go to that person. And so he starts avoiding people even more and doesn't want to touch anybody. And a situation happens where, of course, he eventually is going to come into contact with young Hiro again, and we're going to see how Hiro and Hiro deal with the power swap that comes with that. It is really cute, and again, this Hiro story kind of has very, like, Mark Russell, My Bad feels of him, like, getting just completely, like, swarmed into his own brain and his own celebrity hype, and it's great. All right, we've got the Sixth Gun, Battle for the Six, issue 1 from Oni Press. So this is bringing back the world of the Sixth Gun, which is Cullen Bunn's magnum opus. And we're bringing that back. And we just got a prequel story that came out, a 0 issue, that kind of gave us all the history of the Sixth Gun all over again to get us reinvested. But they do actually have the story of the Sixth Gun in here at the beginning as well. Like a little recap for you. But this is basically, there's these 6 weapons that can, destroy the world, save the world, all those kinds of things that come together. And there's 2 different secret societies, one that wants to save the world, one that wants to destroy the world. They're from different kinds of places and different kind of time periods. They build the teams together. And we are on a hunt for this Sixth Gun. And the last time, of course, that the Sixth Gun was found and used, it led to some really big changes in the world. And we kind of saw a lot of that fallout. This is taking us back, though. That was a story that kind of fit into the now. This is a story that seems to almost actually be out of time, but it is very much feeling like it's kind of more in the Old West as they are trying to figure out who's going to wield this weapon. And the closer one group gets, the further the other group gets, and vice versa. And it looks like the bad guys might have a better chance at this weapon in this issue. And so we're gonna have to see how this battle plays out, as this is just starting this whole new world for Cullen Bunn and his big 6-gun universe. Space Ghost Annual, obviously number 1, and this is also from Dynamite. So if you didn't know, there's been the Space Ghost series going on, and then it is actually like wrapping up and coming to, there's going to be a new Space Ghost number 1, and this kind of seems like it's going to bridge the gap between it. And so this has most recently in the Space Ghost universe, the kids, the twins that have been traveling with Space Ghost, they have a monkey, and the monkey is kind of got the secrets to the universe embedded inside of him, and the bad guys have been trying to get their hands on this monkey. Well, they did in the Space Ghost series, and so this is Space Ghost and the twins trying to get to the monkey to save it, so that they can stop the bad guys from having all of that ultimate power that is hidden in it. And they have to come face to face with some big things. There's moments where they're made to believe that maybe their father isn't actually gone, and that maybe there's still hope for the kids to have like a normal life and not be on this adventure with Space Ghost anymore. And so that's kind of, again, leading us between the two stories with what ended the last Space Ghost and what's going to probably lead us into where we're going to go in the next Space Ghost volume. And so this is a good one to pick up. Even if you didn't read all of that Space Ghost, but you're thinking, I want to read the next Space Ghost, I recommend getting this annual because it kind of wraps that story for you in a really good way. Thundercats and Powerpuff Girls from Dynamite. This is a crossover you never knew was going to happen. Like, nobody in the world could ever predict that Thundercats and Powerpuff Girls would someday have a crossover.
Batman, Deadpool, move aside.
Right. Who needs that? This is Thundercats and Powerpuff Girls. And it's so ridiculously funny too, because the Thundercats are going through their big drama that they do with, like, oh, we need to save Third Earth and we need to build this Thundercats world. And they're like, how are we going to do it? Like, we don't have all of the Thundercats. And they're like, oh, it's okay. We've got these tiny, cute, adorable girls that may or may not know how to fight. And they're like, we definitely know how to fight. And they're like, cool, you can help us in this battle. And so they have to fight these Ewok-y looking creatures that are kind of like teddy bears, kind of like Ewoks, kind of just like weird little robot guys. And they're like, don't hurt them. Like, they might actually be, there might be a spell on them, and they might actually be like the Thundercats secretly inside of them, and we need you to not hurt them. And the Powerpuff Girls are like, yeah, we don't know how to do that. We just know how to fight things. And so you get a big, fun rock'em sock'em adventure with Powerpuff Girls having to save the day for the Thundercats. And it's just wild and nothing that you would have anticipated. And honestly, just, you know, grab it and read it, especially if you're collecting both of those series. All right, we've got Circuit, Seduction, and Revenge. And it says issue 1, but I'm pretty sure it's just a one-shot. And this is from Devil's Due. And honestly, it's just such a cool random series. But
your hand was covering it.
Circuit, Seduction, and Revenge. This is also, again, for adults, so I don't know if there's anything I can show you on Facebook. Maybe someday. Maybe this page. Basically, this is a story of a guy who's a CEO who has way too much money and does a lot of terrible things and creates droids that are just for people's pleasure and uses people and robots in the same way. And he ends up causing a woman, like the death of a woman, and her sister is a hacker and is really mad that he has killed her sister, and so she's like, I'm gonna go after him and I'm gonna get my revenge. And so she ends up hacking one of the like pleasure androids and uses it to go through and just destroy everything that he has and everything that he loves, and like as a way to like get to him and fight him. And you just kind of get to see a action-packed cyberpunk takedown of a CEO. So you know, it's a great book. You should read it. Again, I can't show you most of it on the internet, but you should, if you're an adult, definitely grab this book and read it, because I cheered a lot at the end of the story. So Mega Man X. This is another one of the one-shots that they're doing from Udon and Capcom of the Mega Man. They're kind of all interconnected, but not really. It's just stories of Mega Man doing different things. In this one, Mega Man is teaming up with some of his other team members to go after somebody that's attacking the world, and he's like, oh, we've got to go in and figure this out. And so we get to see Mega Man go through a snow planet, and it's kind of great because they're like, oh, be careful, because of the bad guy, like snow can grow almost immediately when you land. And he like jumps out of the thing and is like, yep, that's a lot of snow, and here comes more. And so it's kind of nice though, because these all seem to kind of take place when Mega Man is still a little new in his role, and so he seems like he's the one that needs the training and the assistance of fighting, but he ends up coming into contact with one of his bad guys and fighting them, only to find out that might not be the bad guy that he actually needs to face off against in order to save the day. And so is the next one going to connect a little bit and lead us to that bad guy, or is it going to be a completely different Mega Man story? You got to grab all of the one-shots to find out. Speed Racer issue 1 from Mad Cave. This is a great way to get into Speed Racer. This is, if you know nothing about Speed Racer at all, it does not matter. You can jump into this 100% fresh. This is a story of a kid who's literally named Speed Racer. Like his family calls him Speed. But his older brother is a race car driver, and he wants nothing more than to be like his brother. And his brother ends up getting into an accident that causes a lot of problems in the family. You know, he loses his mom like his mom and dad get a divorce. His dad kind of spirals and doesn't really talk to him or his younger brother like anymore. And the family is just kind of told to stay away from racing. But Speed has only had one goal and one goal ever. And so he's been sneaking around. He starts sneaking around trying to get involved in races, and when he's caught by his dad for doing that, he and his dad kind of have a big falling out and a blow up, because he's like, I don't understand why you can't just move on. Why are you so stuck in the past? Like, we need the money. My racing could definitely give us, like, help us win. Like, let me be a part of the race system. Meanwhile, the money that his dad owes is owed to some very dangerous people, and they need to figure out how they can, they come for the money and they come for the dad, and Speed has to figure out how to save his whole family in more ways than one. And it's setting up a really, really big series. It's also setting up a big universe, because it does have the fact that we do see in the back like matter that we are still getting the Racer X book, which is going to come out in September. So we're going to have 2 different Speed Racer related titles coming out. So if you're a fan, you definitely want to get it. It feels more like Speed Racer anime manga, like kind of than like even just like the cartoon style, but it's definitely a big story for sure. Godzilla vs. America. Godzilla is taking on Boston in this one shot from IDW. These are all anthology stories that just show different people working with Godzilla, attacking things. The first one is about some fishermen who are like, oh, I met this monstrous creature called Godzilla, and he attacked everybody on our ship, and, but he can't make it to Boston, because if he comes to Boston, we'll fight him back. And we kind of get to see what that looks like for these people. And then we get another one of the it's Jesse Lonergan, right? Who did Man's Best Friend and also the Hydra like one shot. He did one of these, I believe, in the Godzilla vs. LA as well, where it's kind of just like the history of the city, but also like has the Godzilla attacks in it. And it's just really cool because there are these like crazy maps of the city, and it's all done in footnotes at the bottom, and so you're kind of just learning about the different places as well as Godzilla kaiju attacks. And they're honestly like they're the coolest thing. I think that they should make massive maps of that work. And then there's a really cute one about Mothra and Godzilla just being in the city park and having a nice day, and it's so cute, and it's so watercolored and perfect, and I just want the kids' picture books to be printed of that. We need to print that one separately. And then there is one about there is one about Godzilla coming into attack and like the people on the green line, the Boston train, like actually being the ones that are the only ones who can fight against it, because when you drive the train, you're used to seeing all kinds of crazy stuff come your way, so why wouldn't you be able to stand against a kaiju as well? And then they end up having to find out what it is that can stop the Godzilla from attacking the city, and it's just so good. If you just love Godzilla, these Godzilla versus America books are great. I believe the next one is against Kansas City, and I'm really hoping there's at least one Taylor Swift reference in the book. Just saying. We've got Fence Breakthrough Game Changer issue 1 from Boombox. The Fence series just kind of keeps going from exactly where it left off after the last one. So if you've never read Fence, it's like you have to go back and read Fence to catch up and be a part of like the series where it is. But this is very much like a Yuri on Ice kind of teen manga kind of story, but this is about a group of teenagers who go to a fencing academy and have been participating in these fencing games forever. And they are at this point, we are now approaching the quarterfinals, and we're on the last match before that, and we are letting our understudy fencer come in. And if you've been reading the story, you know that there's a whole big thing about where this person comes from and what their fencing skills are and how nervous they are and the bullying that they've faced from the other schools and within their own school. And so we get to kind of see everything come to head in this issue as they focus on actually trying to make it through that battle and that round and try to get the team into those quarterfinals to see if they can actually make it. It's a fantastic story. I highly recommend that you pick up trades of Fence and read it, because the story has been so good for so many years, and you just need to keep going. We've got Monster High World Scare issue 1 from IDW. This is continuing the Monster High story that's been going on in the comics for the last few months. Even though this is a #1, it's kind of the next arc of the story. So if you haven't been following along, basically Draculaura has been put in charge of the school system because something has happened with her dad and her parents, and so now she's kind of the like highest ranking Dracula family member, so she's in charge of the school board, and it's really stressing her out. In the last arc, we actually saw them have to take down a person who was coming after the school, which led to the headmaster, the headmistress going missing, and then the new headmaster, which was Frankie's dad, we'll just say stepping away, so I don't spoil anything that happened. And so now Frankie is trying to figure out a way that she can kind of live up to the expectations of her dad and do something that can celebrate the life she had with him, and she is wanting to do that by joining the World Scare and inventing something amazing that he would be proud of. And in order to do that, she needs a dream crystal, and they end up finding a map where they can go into the forest and challenge these imps essentially for some crystals. And so she gets all of her ghoul friends together, and they all go on this adventure to try to figure out how to get these crystals, which are supposed to expose what they each desire most to them. And it definitely opens up a big story for us to go in this arc of Monster High, but always a fun adventure, and I'm just so happy Monster High is back. The Fourth Rope. This is from a new it's from Tokyo Pop, but it's also Noir Caesar is the partnership thing, and this is a fantastic like manga comic like blend, really, because it is Tokyo Park. And actually, Noir Caesar is a BIPOC owned manga and comic studio. They have a whole thing on the back here about how they're just trying to bring more diversity and representation into comics, anime, manga, and beyond. And so this is a great story for people who are fans of wrestling. This is all about a wrestling federation and just kind of this big world that they're building out of some people who, like, we have 5 major wrestlers that our big champion is like, I want to be the best champion of wrestling ever. And so I am challenging people from like every wrestling federation that's the champion in each one. And we get in this one to kind of see their sizzle reels as they introduce each of the wrestlers that are coming into this battle, and then we actually show up to the match, and it's like the beginning of the night for the wrestling thing, and they're like, hey, that's gonna be our big, end of the night match. And then a mysterious new wrestler shows up and is like, hey, I don't think that guy is the best. I don't think that the people that he's challenging are the best. I'm here to prove that it's me. And so we're gonna have this, as always happens in wrestling, where somebody is like, I should have been in that battle. It should be me in the ring. You get that moment. We're going to get to see how that plays out. And again, wrestling fans, this is such a great wrestling fan story, because it really is just like watching a good, well-written episode of wrestling. So, if wrestling's not fake, nobody wrote it. It's totally 100% things that happen in the moment, for real. Calexic is back, and we have the Battle of Universal City. This is issue 1 from Black Mask. If you haven't read Calexic, basically, California secedes from America, and there becomes a massive civil war within California, because most of the people are okay with that happening, but there is a lot of people that live in California who think that they should not have done that, and so they are in this big battle. And the Calexic previous series ended with our leader of the resistance, the people who want California to secede and who want to stop all of the things that are the terrible things that are happening, trying to get from one side of California to the other. And this is picking up where that leaves off. And so she is teamed up with a guy who is one of those people who just absolutely will not choose a side and is kind of easy to go between. I like this because it actually shows our California map. Are easy to go between the different things, because he just kind of deals in drugs and stuff that people want, and so he works on both sides of the thing. And we're getting kind of to see her yell at him for being somebody who won't choose a side and who's letting all of this happen. But also we get to see him kind of yelling at her for being like, hey, you're trying to make this huge difference, but you're also just not going about it necessarily the right way. And so they kind of get to each other. They have those conversations. They do end up in Universal City, and also kind of on Universal's city walk, at Universal Studios. And so we get to see how that kind of crossover works and how they navigate their way through that. But it's definitely timely for Calexic to come back, and it's definitely a series that if you didn't read the first volume, you should. The Voice Said Kill, issue 1 from Image, which I believe was one of Santiago's picks on Santiago Saturday last week. This is all about a group of people, park rangers essentially, who work in the Louisiana Bayou, and they're constantly having to deal with different, poachers and different stuff like that. Well, a party's food goes wrong, and all of the staff, except for one park ranger, are out sick, and she is very, very pregnant and very much dealing with her own stuff, and now she has to deal with all of the stuff going on in the park, including dealing with a woman who runs a moonshining process and who is like, I'm kind of in charge of this town. The police listen to me. The people in the park listen to me. My family runs this place. She's like, you better listen to whatever I have to say, and you let my family run things the way it is. Meanwhile, the woman, the park ranger, goes out to investigate something that goes completely and totally wrong. Some crazy stuff ensues, and she makes some calls very quickly that may lead to some insanely bad stuff going down in the future. And so we are going to see how this plays out. This is wild. Vanessa Del Rey's art on it is just makes you constantly guess like what's actually happening in the woods and all this stuff. And so I cannot wait to see where that story is going to go. We've got the new Godzilla launching. This is our new ongoing Godzilla with issue 1 from IDW, and the launch of the new era of Godzilla, which is the first time that it has like been defined in the comics, new era. And so we're gonna see what's going on. So basically we have a G-force of people who are brought in to kind of protect America from Godzilla attacks and other kaiju. They talk about fighting Rodan. They talk about a couple different ones. And in fact, the kaiju that they're fighting in this is Anguillus. He shows up and they're like, well, we have to stop him because if he shows up, then that just means Godzilla isn't far behind because Godzilla always comes when other kaiju are there. And so we need to get the team out and ready. And we have one member of the team who's actually from Japan, and she's like, you can actually just, you know, redirect the kaiju. You don't need to constantly kill them. But it's like the American people are like, no, we're going to kill them. We can only kill kaiju. That's the only solution. And so they just recently found a kid who is a mutant kid who actually has what they call the Kaisai power, which is essentially what like funds all these kaiju powers. And so he now has that same like atomic blast that Godzilla has, and has the ability and the strength to fight against these kaiju. And so they're like, oh, we need to get you into this battle so you can kill Godzilla. And he's like, I'm absolutely going to kill Godzilla because kaiju killed my family and I need to do it. It's very like Pacific Rim almost feeling, but without the mech suits of a Godzilla story. And so all new characters, all new powers, all new ways to think about the kaiju battles opening up in this brand new era. And yes, we didn't even talk about it. Green Fire Blast from Godzilla. That's a new color of Godzilla's Fire Blast. He's had red, blue, and purple, and this is the first time he will have green. And so exciting. We've got Tex Arcanum issue 1 from Dark Horse. This is kind of for fans of Supernatural, honestly. This is about a man who is brought in by authorities whenever something dangerous and supernatural is going on, to kind of be the guy that investigates that, very like Constantine, preachery-esque almost even. And so he is brought to Texarkana because there is some weird stuff going on. Basically, like the plagues from the Bible are all happening, which is funny because they start with locusts, and I'm like, look, if you've ever been to East Texas, the grasshoppers there are so big, you automatically just know that that locusts just live there. Like that's just what grasshoppers in East Texas look like. But they are dealing with the fact that there has been like this ancient curse essentially between these two warring families of supernatural descent in the area. And when they are trying to get through just these plagues happening in town, they realize that they may have crossed over a boundary line that wasn't supposed to be crossed. And so now we're not only dealing with things like locusts and plagues and wendigos, but we also have these two very angry magical families at war with each other, and he is the only one that can stop it. It's a lot going on in this. You find a lot of history really fast and a lot of like different geographies and things like that to kind of pull it all together. And so that series, it's going to be, I think it's only 4 issues, so they're going to have a lot going on in that series as it unfolds. All right, I've got 3 picks of the week for you. Up first is Seasons number 6 from Image and the Giant Generator, which is Rick Remender's imprint. I feel like we have stopped talking about this book too much for how good it is. This is such an interesting concept and such a cool like art style and everything, very Tintin-esque in the way they're doing it. But this is the story of 4 sisters who are each of the seasons: spring, summer, winter, and autumn. And it follows spring specifically after her sister Autumn sends them a letter that says there is a circus coming to town and not to trust it, and the evil clowns that are coming, and to get out as far away as fast as possible. And Autumn sends that letter from her investigation trying to figure out what happened to their parents who have gone missing. In this issue, we actually get to see, well, I guess in one of the previous issues, Summer Season actually got roped into the clown drama and fell victim to what they were doing. And Winter has not believed Spring on any of the stuff that she's doing because she's the youngest sibling and she's always like on these crazy adventures and telling wild stories, and so they don't really believe her. In this issue, and what I love about it so much is that Spring is having to deal with all of the darkness that these clowns are trying to throw at her. And actually, it literally was like, clowns are trying to make her feel bad about herself. And I thought, that's so funny. Like, when you water it down to that, like, idea, like, isn't that what's wrong with the world, is that clowns try to make you feel bad about yourself for being who you are? And I was like, man, way to just, like, take that concept and actually make it into a whole story, Rick Remender. But he does, and it's just, it's everything that people in the world feel is, like, the problem constantly. Like, the things that come at us. Like, she's being told, like, your family doesn't love you. They aren't including you because, like, your parents aren't actually missing. They just don't want to include you and stuff. And, and you don't have friends. And, you know, you try so hard to be good at your job, but you're not good at it because you're trying too hard. And nobody likes people that try that hard. And it's just all the things that the internet says to people, and all the things that, like, jealous people say to people, and the things that really make people self-conscious, like, really, really come in on themselves. And Spring is having to face all of that and kind of try to keep this positive attitude through the whole thing and find herself through it. And it's just so beautiful the way he does it, and the fact that it is, like, so colorful and so much like a Tintin kind of adventure. It's just such a good book, and I think the internet needs to talk about the seasons more because it's so much better than the publicity it's getting. Look Into My Eyes from Mad Cave, issue 1. I read this on the airplane on the way to Comic-Con, and I just think it's cool the way that they're blending technology and the story, and yet telling you how bad technology is for you all at the same time. This is all about a teenager who is dealing with the fact that they just announced a new social media and everybody is on it. And in the process of everybody getting on this social media, 3 different girls have gone missing from the town. And one of them is kind of like somebody who was friends with our main character, RJ. And RJ is, like, looking into this disappearance. And RJ makes zines and is, like, completely against technology. RJ also has, like, this whole thing where they throw this protest, and they even end up telling the sister, they're like, if which I think is on this page that I'm on, where it's like, if the I don't want to get it wrong. She says, like, you're giving away your data, privacy, and time, consuming all of the entertainment they funnel into your mouth. They don't allow you a second alone with your thoughts. Engagement, engagement, engagement. Spend more time in front of a screen. See all my ads. Consume everything I show you. Don't you know that when something is free, the product is you? And so you just get this, like, really, like, anti-establishment, anti-social media, anti-everything kind of character who, again, is so analog with their zines and refuses to start a podcast even though they're doing all this investigation and they want everybody to read it. And then you've got all the mean kids who are possibly the reason why Susie was murdered. And RJ's the only one that's investigating it. And then we start to see some things start to unravel. And what's really cool is there are QR codes that will take us to actual posts that people make on Knock Knock, which is the social media in there. And so you can go to this, like, it takes you to this fake social media and you get to see all this stuff, or to somebody's text message thread. And so it's kind of a really cool way to get, like, the information, like, blended into the story. But it's such a cool murder mystery that's already starting. We've got so many layers to it, so many different characters, so many people who are like, ooh, are you the killer? Oh, are you the person that's, like, responsible for this? Why is this person coming out of the woodwork? It is very, like, young adult in that they all are teenagers, and so you do have all the teen drama buried into, like, blended into it, and so it does kind of feel like a teen slasher, something like reminiscent of, like, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and all of those kinds of, like, the teen drama buried into the story. But it's an interesting way to tell that story all at the same time. And then lastly, A Sword to Crisis Events number 5 from Image. This is one of those books, again, where issue 1 came out and it seemed like it was going to be this action-packed thing about how time was messed up and didn't work the same way, and yet that's not been what the book is about at all. Each issue has been anthology-esque that's kind of dealt with the way we deal with time and the way time impacts our lives and the different kind of crises we go through. And this one is all about a young girl who believes that her life is one long cycle of the same terrible thing over and over again, and it harkens back to her childhood abuse and the abuse she sees her mom experience, and how she constantly tells therapists and psychiatrists and doctors and like nutritionists, like anybody they can, of church clergy, like anybody they can send her story, and nobody believes her. And it just kind of fills that cycle over and over again, because every time they don't believe her, it just kind of causes it to start more and more, and it shows her grow through her life. And yet for her, she's like, oh, I'm not really going through my life. Like, my life is just kind of that one moment over and over and over again, and that series of moments. And the way that the art is done on this really does such a great job of making you feel stuck in that moment with her and cycling through it. And the paneling on it just kind of leads, like, this page is a maze, and it's like there's actually really not a beginning and an end. It kind of just cycles you back through over and over again, and she kind of comes to a point where she tries to figure out how to get out of that cycle, and she doesn't feel like she can. And the way she approaches that and the way she deals with it is absolutely beautiful. The whole thing a giant metaphor for the cycle of abuse and the way we can't step away from those things and the way we experience them, and how it is an infinite loop, as this page shows, of mistrust and anger and pain and everything. And this book is absolutely fantastic. It does have an ad for the trade paperback at the end, so if you didn't catch any of the issues yet, it looks like we're going to get a volume 1 pretty soon. But if you can find any issues, especially 2 through 5, they're so good. And 3, 4, and 5 are like, they're in that category with like Ice Cream Man, where they make you really just like rethink everything in the world and really just want to be better in yourself and towards other people. And I definitely think we're going to be talking about A Sword of Crisis events for the Eisner next year for sure. And if we're not Eisner committee, we are going to be talking about how we should be talking about A Sword of Crisis events. I'm going to flash through these books really fast while Matt is going to come join me. So I'm going to go through these while he gets ready. These are just other things in stock. If you didn't know, Keanu Reeves wrote a novel. And you should check it out. That's what I'm going to say about this. This all goes into like your Berserker life world things, but this is the book of Elsewhere. It is a Berserker novel, so if you're a fan of Keanu Reeves, you should read that. Werewolf by Night came back with Blood Moon Rising. The Thing issue 3, Gods is back. We had the DC's California Love one-shot, Summer Love going on. Bring on the Bad Guys, Loki, issue 1. There is a new issue of Zdarsky Comic News, which is hilarious and also features some great interviews. The War, which was a story featured in Hello Darkness, is coming out in single issues for people who missed it in Hello Darkness. It actually has 2 issues of the backup story from Hello Darkness in each of the story, like floppies that you can grab. And if you didn't read it, you absolutely need to. It's Garth Ennis writing about like war with adults who like aren't prepared for it, and Becky Cloonan doing art. It's so good. TMNT Best of Renee. We've got Sherlock Holmes and the Dark Detective. This is got an anthology of stories. Tyrant issue 1, which is a crazy weird world of different kinds of rulers and gods and things, and you just gotta read it. Robin and Batman, Jason Todd issue 2, Batman The Last Halloween issue 8, Gotham City Sirens Unfit for Orbit issue 5, which I believe is the last issue of that. I think it was only 5. The Incredible Hulk 27, Justice League Dark Tomorrow Special number 1, Nightwing 128, Medieval Spawn number 4, Scorch number 43, Spider-Man versus the Sinister 16. This is a one-shot. Spider-Man Wolverine issue 3. High Republic has had its finale, and this is the finale of High Republic right here. We've got Titans issue 25 and the launch of Savage Wolverine. We also have some graphic novels and trade paperbacks that came out while we were gone and this week as well. Hero Cave, which is a new Silver Sprocket book, which means it's going to have some great art and hilarious, wonderful story that you're going to want to check out. Gotcha Man, Only One Earth. This is collecting all of the Only One Earth Gotcha Man miniseries, so all 4 issues of that. I'm going to save this for the end. We've got, like I said, the Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos trade paperback. This is going to have issues 9 through 15, as well as the one-shot for the Halloween special. So this is volume 2 of Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, but it does feature my favorite story in there. We've got Maddie Lubachowski's newest, which is Simplicity, In the Land of Simplicity. I am so excited. This is going to be such a good book. I cannot wait to read it. It's gonna be great. Oh my gosh! If you want to read it before me, you better get it now. Stand Still, which is really cool because all of the shots in the book were landscape, so the whole comic is actually printed. Trade paperback is actually printed landscape style. Great thriller story. We've got Lenore. She's back. This is going to feature all 3 issues of the new Lenore, as well as the issue 12 of the original run of Lenore, so that you can see what happened that led up to why we're in the new Time War. I Hate Fairyland. This is the Happy Endgame. This is the most recent arc of I Hate Fairyland, which is issues 16 to 20. Something Crawled Out, which we had a couple of issues of in single issue format, and then Vault decided to move it all to one trade paperback style. So this is the full trade paperback, which will finally give us all of the issues and the final story of that slasher. Spider Society and Spider-Verse. If you want some more spider stories, this is going to have it, and it's going to have some new characters in there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Nation. This is all 5 issues of that series, that first part of that series, which is going to show you where all of the turtles were and what Raphael was up to and Casey Jones were up to and all of that before the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles story started. And I'm going to invite Matt to join me.
What's up?
Hello, Matt.
Dude, that's a lot of books.
That was a lot of books.
That's a lot of books.
70 books
70.
And then some. And there's one more trade paperback, but I thought I'd let you tell everybody why they should read this one.
Dude, everything sucks. If you guys like Adult Swim, any of that kind of stuff, if you like
regular show.
Stoner regular show, I've heard of that. I've never seen it. If you like stoner humor of any kind, and any of that kind of stuff, and funny animals doing drugs. It's honestly,
and other ridiculous
things that they do.
Eating cheeseburgers.
A lot of cheeseburgers.
Yeah, which is why Matt is recommending.
Also got to meet Michael Sweater, the creator of this, in San Diego, and he was the nicest, coolest dude in the entire world. And so obviously we have to support for that alone.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Where'd you meet Michael Sweater at in San Diego?
At a bar called The Werewolf for my birthday, which was very fun. It was karaoke night. And they have Werewolf by Night comics shredded up and covering the walls of like everywhere in the back rooms.
Yeah.
Was it like that in the ladies' room too?
It was like that in the ladies' room too. It was awesome. It was
pretty cool. Ladies' room always.
I was like, I don't know how people leave the bathroom in a timely manner because I just wanted to look at every single issue. I was like,
Werewolf by Night.
Right. But yeah, so we just went to San Diego Comic-Con.
We just went to San Diego Comic-Con. I'm like almost out of wine here. Here, drink wine.
Okay.
Especially if Tom's joining in drinking wine tonight. Like, that's pretty cool. People usually don't drink wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we went to San Diego Comic-Con. We were gone all last week.
Yeah.
Thank you first and foremost to Alex, Katie, and of course Santiago for watching the store.
Yeah.
They did a fantastic job. You all have told us nothing but amazing things about them. So we already knew that because we love them and that's why they're here all the time. But shout out to them for stepping up and helping out.
Absolutely.
Keeping the store open.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are amazing. Thanks And thanks everybody for being cool with them, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, coming in and talking to them.
Yeah, which is really exciting. Again, another shout out to Hello Comics.
Yeah.
And Kate and Dave and Anna for these
Show
glasses.
off yours, because yours is different than mine.
I got a special birthday one, and it's got Dick Tracy on it, which is super cool. I don't know how I got to be so special. I guess it was because it was my birthday.
It was your birthday.
And then you got 2 of the Bat City ones.
Yeah. Well,
and it's your show.
Yeah, we got 2 Bat City ones.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out Kate, Dave, Anna,
so super cool.
The best.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are awesome. If you guys don't know Hello Comics, they're in Charlottesville, Virginia, another Eisner finalist, and a fantastic shop that's all comics. They're another shop that's just comics only, which is obviously where we start being friends. It starts there, and we're like, oh, this is cool and exciting. Another shop that's just comics. It's
and
fun.
again, if you're watching this online, and you're like, I want to buy comics from a store, and Bad City, why don't you sell comics online? Well, guess what? Hello Comics does. So you can buy comics from Hello Comics online, and that's the same thing, because we love them, and we are just happy you're shopping at a comic book store.
And their shipping department's really nice.
Their shipping is really fantastic. Yeah. So if you want to buy comics online, they're a great storage to shop from. Hello Comics, they have a lot of really cool signings in their store, so a lot of times they might have stock from that. And if you want really funny merch, Things by Dave is David from Hello Comics screen printing company, so you can buy some really great funny shirts and other goodies from them.
Yeah, bumper stickers, things like that.
He also currently has the local comic shop day merchandise available through Things by Dave's like the website for Things by Dave, which we'll add to comments and stuff later, but which includes a cool support local comic shops shirt that you can buy, and that helps continue local comic shop day. So
just super neat.
Yeah.
Speaking of Eisner finalists, we were an Eisner finalist again this year, 3rd year in a row, which was pretty great. It was super fun. It was fun to cheer on all of our favorite books.
Yeah.
Being up on the big screen and seeing the winners walk up there and get their awards. It was super fun. We got to hang out afterwards and meet a lot of really cool people and have some really good conversations. And you look beautiful.
Oh, and you look very handsome. Yes.
Very cute.
You did. You look great.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a super good time.
I got to meet Hayden Sherman, which was super cool. It's a person I hadn't met yet in the comic industry, who I've been obsessively following their career for 6 years now. So it was really cool to, I love when you get to meet those people.
This show has been talking about Hayden Sherman
for so long.
Yeah. And Chris Condon, too.
Yes.
Who's news from the Fallout tonight. He hung out with us for my birthday, and that was amazing. He was such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Incredible human. So it was pretty cool. I met Steve Lealoha, who did the Spider-Woman comics back in the day. Incredible penciler, inker, Marvel legend.
Yeah.
It was really, really neat. So yeah, it was overall, it was really great. I came by obviously tonight because I do my annual check-in.
Yes. You're 2 times a year that you're on the show.
Right, exactly. 1 time a year, really, at this point.
Sometimes you come at Christmas.
Yeah, but we had a very Toxic Avenger
we did.
time in San Diego with our new comic exclusive of Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, it was really fun. We got to, if you don't know, I am Vice President of Comics Pro, which is the only retail trade organization for comic stores worldwide. And we have a breakfast every year at San Diego Comic-Con, and we thought it would be really cool to have Matt Boris sign the Bat City exclusive for all the retailers who came. And so Matt got up early in the morning and came to breakfast and did a free signing for retailers, and we gave out the variants for free, which was really cool. It was so shout out to Matt Boris, because A, he made this awesome cover, B, he writes this fantastic book, C, he did that super sick signing for everybody, and D, he just helped us have a truly toxic, trauma inspired San Diego Comic-Con, which included getting to see him on a panel with Mark Russell and Stuart Moore and the video game designer, which, if you didn't know, there is a new Toxic Crusaders video game that is basically just Turtles in Time, but with the Toxic Crusaders, and that's coming soon to every platform.
Yeah, in December.
Yeah. And there was another special guest on that panel. And who was that special guest?
It was Lloyd Kaufman, the creator of Toxic Avenger himself.
Woo!
And he is the nicest, most supportive guy in the whole world is like Stanley meets Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
And the kindest human, and shouted out Matt and congratulated him on the series and was really proud of him, and that was really nice to see. He shouted out our friend Ed, who is the editor-in-chief of Retrofan magazine and works over at Ahoy, and he also shouted out Bat City, which was very cool, and he was very kind and signed a bunch of books for us and things like that. It was just really cool to see that. There's a new movie coming up in August that we're all very excited about.
Heck
and so it's a very toxic year, as it were. But that was very fun. Very cool.
And these are still available at Bat City. You can get them in shop for $10, or you can order them online, because that is like the one of two things that we sell online, the Dick Tracy exclusive being the only other thing we sell online.
Yeah.
But you can order these online, $10 plus shipping.
And as I always say to everybody in the shop, it's actually our shop on the cover.
Our shop.
I love that moment where people kind of step back and look around and go, oh my God, it is. It's always kind of But yeah, Matt did a great job showing Bat City.
Yeah.
You know, and immortalizing it onto the cover of the Toxic Avenger.
Heck
really
yeah.
Cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, and really exciting for us. And the last thing is that it's Shann's birthday at midnight. So that's like in, 45 minutes or something like that? No, 10 minutes? Oh my gosh.
10 minutes.
Holy
We're not
cow,
going to keep you
is-
on this show
sorry,
for the next
we've been here
10
for
minutes.
forever and ever, right? Exactly.
There was
But
70
happy
books.
birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Matt just had his happy birthday. We got to celebrate at San Diego Comic Con. And shout out to everybody who made that at San Diego Comic Con coming out. Shout out to Ignition, one of the newest publishers on the block, and you're going to want to subscribe to all of their books. But at the Ignition party at midnight, they actually sang happy birthday to Matt, which was incredibly cool.
Very kind.
Thank you, Dan and Bree, for making that happen, and just being all around rock stars all the time. But yeah, and thank you to everybody who came out and celebrated Matt's birthday with us in San Diego, and for everybody who came by this Wednesday to the shop and like continued that celebration, because there's so many people that came by this week that were like, I wasn't there, so happy birthday, Matt.
Yeah, it was very nice. Thanks, guys.
So.
And also, since it's a comics live stream, I cannot wait for you guys to see Ignition books. Did you ever get to see one?
I didn't get to see
and
one.
I got to see all 6 of their first releases. I sat there with Philip Sablik, who's the editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
CEO,
whatever
he is.
He's
the
CEO. He's one of those. The guy in charge.
Yeah, and I said, hey, Philip, you got any books? And he was like, actually, I do. And he put them in my hand, and they are very cool. And I can tell you they have a Impresium on the back.
Yes, that is a thing Philip and I talked about at Comics Pro this year, that I was like, the one thing I want in this world is a publisher to start putting blurbs on the back of the comics about what it is about. And Philip was like, guess what? We're going to do it on every book.
We're doing it. They're on there. They look great. The art looks great. The paper stock is that nice, silky, cardstocky kind of stuff like a Boom Studios book had. And then they're all also really cool thing. They're all individually numbered according to the print run. So if there's 30,000 of the book, they're going to be randomly sent out to comic book stores. And a comic book store could get number 99, and a comic book store could get 29,534. You don't know what you're going to get, and they're going to be randomly distributed, and then it's going to build in some kind of collectability even for indie books, which is kind of a neat idea, you know, because most of the people who are watching this show really like reading and all the stories and things like that. And there's a lot of different ways that you can collect comics. You know, you can collect them for value, you can collect them for rarity. You can collect them because you love reading the comic books. And we like all of those things here at Bat City, and we cater to all of those things. But it's kind of cool for an indie publisher to be like, hey, how do we do that? And how do we blend some of those things together? I thought it was a neat idea. Yeah. And so I'm really excited for their books to come out. And the first one comes out next month.
Yeah, the FOC for the first book, the final order cutoff for the first book is tomorrow. Actually.
Oh, is it? So 3 weeks. So that's really exciting. So something to look forward to on Wind Down Your Weekend. And but I was gonna say my last San Diego Comic Con shout out that I have to do is to Moni Barrett and Creators Assemble. Every year I get to take part of the Creators Assemble like networking experience, and it is the coolest thing, and it's so awesome that Moni puts that together. It is like 9-10 tables in a room, and each table has 3 industry professionals and a librarian as moderator, because librarians make the best moderators for all things because they're superheroes. And then creators come in and they cycle through the room, and they basically Shark Tank their projects.
and we get to provide like and help them with wherever they're at. So if they're like, oh, I don't know how to do distribution, like we get to talk about that. If it's like, oh, I don't know how to talk to publishers, oh, I don't know like how to get past, this particular spot, or I don't know how to get started. Like, so we get to do that, which is really cool. And it's kind of like our creator meetup on steroids, very quickly done. Like they get like 15-20 minutes to tell us about it. And so you get to see like dozens and dozens of creators in that 2-hour time block. And so I think it's really cool that Moni puts that together at a couple of different cons every year. And I think I'm happy that I get to be a part of it for San Diego.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And while you're on it, I want to shout out Morgan from Square Enix.
Yes.
And Ivan from Kodansha, who had us on the panel for talking to other retailers about how to sell manga in your stores. And really a lot of manga fans just kind of came out. So thanks for coming to that, you guys. And it was me and Shannon on my birthday, which was really cool. And that was a lot of fun. And so thanks for having us on that. It was really fun.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. That was a ton of fun to be on. And you'll see pictures of that tomorrow for Manga Monday, because we're going to post about that panel and some of the cool manga stuff that we learned tomorrow for Manga Monday on our social media. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. And as always, thanks Dan Crary and Alex Scola for doing some incredible things for us in the industry, because you guys hold our hands through a lot of stuff when we need it. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, happy birthday.
I was like, we're not keeping you here until my birthday. We're not trying to buy
happy
time.
Birthday.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching Wind Down Your Weekend. Cheers to another year of fun and reading all of those books that you read.
Yes, and while you go back to your store, whether that's Bass City or somewhere else, make sure you add them to your subscription or pull list, whatever your store calls them, because it's the best way to make sure your comic shop is getting the books you want in for you. So ask your local comic shop about a pull list or subscription, depending on what they call it. Don't forget to add September 27th to your calendars as we're getting closer. That is Local Comic Shop Day. Wherever your comic shop is closest to you, go out and support them on that day and celebrate the idea of comic shops in our communities, just in general. And until we see you in the shop on Wednesday or whenever we see you again, happy reading.